Well, that's another Christmas well and truly done. Had a lovely time with members of my family and members of the lovely Julia, my partner, my girlfriend's family too, and it was been great. But it's made me think, in between the children running around and things like that, and seeing and having wonderful conversations, if sometimes Christmas these days can be just that bit too easy. I remember in the past when my children were small. My kids now are grown up and independent, and I've got grandchildren, for goodness sake. And we didn't have mobile phones, we barely had computers, and we had to trundle around the streets looking for choices, looking for presents and the choices that you had and all these different things. And of course, we had the adverts on the television guiding us to the things that kids would be into. But you actually had to go out and you actually had to buy something. And sometimes you had to go in your car and travel certain distances to pick up that special object that you had ordered months earlier. But these days, of course, Christmas has changed so much. We have these wonderful devices in our hands, and we can be in the comfort of our rooms, scrolling on our phones, looking on these big corporation websites and going, oh yeah, I think so and so would like that. Click. Yeah, how much is that? Oh yeah, what? Oh, how much for the packaging and delivery? Oh, well, it's Christmas, isn't it? Yeah, we'll go for that, and we'll have this and we'll have that. And before you know it, you've got half a dozen items or more, and you can sit back knowing that those items will just be sent to your door. A man will arrive, or a woman, knock on the door a day or so later, and a few boxes will come in, and you can sit down by the fire on a cold evening and wrap them up for Christmas. Or if you don't want to do that, you can actually make a choice, and somebody else, somebody completely unconnected with your family or your friend, who can wrap it up in a warehouse somewhere else in wrapping paper or some sort of plastic encapsulation material that you have no choice on whatsoever, but they'll do it for a little extra fee, and then they'll deliver it to your family member for you. So you don't even have to bother. That's great. And you'll get a notification to tell you it's arrived. How marvellous. But is it really marvellous? Or are we slightly losing the sense of that meaning of what Christmas, or indeed any celebration at any time in the year, people's birthdays, when they've achieved something and you want to give them something, has it all become just too easy now that we're almost, that emotion, that sharing of pleasure, we're offsetting to some corporation somewhere and saying, no, you send that wonderful card. I can't be bothered now to write it out and post it. I can go online with a little tap like this, because my life is far too busy to have the effort to actually go and write something and visit the post box and post it so that person gets it, or actually visit and deliver it by hand. I wonder, is this the way that Christmases in the future will continue? That we'll no longer bother to actually even turn up? Maybe we'll go back like we did in the pandemic and have Zoom Christmases, and we just watch people and wave at them without ever leaving our home. I'm hoping that that isn't the case. I'm hoping that the pandemic has taught us, no, you can cancel Christmas once, maybe half cancel it a second time, but that's it. You're never cancelling Christmas again, and that we have something very special when we have Christmas and we get the family together. It's probably quite dangerous to think back to one's own childhood, because you can't compare how we used to do things. Well, you can compare it, how we used to do things with the past and now. And of course, it's going to be very different. I remember my father, he would make things. He manufactured, he had a little workshop in his attic, and he would make things. And occasionally he made, I remember, an old bagatelle, if it was like a pinball game. Just a board with a piece of wood that went around and some nails in there and ball bearings and a spring and a little some mechanism. And you know, it was one of those things that you couldn't get in the shops. And that was why he built it. He built it because he remembered playing on it. You couldn't get it in the shops. And my sister and I, we were absolutely enthralled with this thing. Okay, we were quite young, but we would get the ball bearings in and use the spring, and bing, 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 it would go. There was no lights and flashing gizmos or sounds. It was just an old-fashioned thing, and it was amazing. And just thinking about that, the old childhood things where people made something, that's, to me, is the thing I remember. I don't remember many of the corporate, well, not corporate, but the big corporation, you know, mass produced objects, the games that you would get. I just don't remember those, but I remember the item that my dad made, or the effort my mum made with an orange and a whole load of cloves that she put in and put into my stocking, so that when I opened it up, there was this wonderful Christmas spicy aroma. And I wonder whether people still do that now, whether they take the time and the effort to make things. And when they're doing that, they're making memories. They're the things I remember, and it's made Christmas for me special, not the stuff that you just order online and it's done. And it reminds me of those old craftsmen you read about or you see in living museums, and there they are using their hands, and they're making things and taking time and effort and producing something that is bespoke, unique. You can't buy it off the shelf. It's ready-made for you. Yes, it might be a little bit more expensive, but there's something very personal about that. And I wonder if in this modern world, that's something also that we're losing, not just at Christmas, but across the board. People's furniture purchased in flat pack from large corporations that anybody could have. But if somebody's made something, I made a rather naff coffee table, and I made a video about it, but I made it. And people come in, they go, oh, that's quite good. It was the effort I put into it. And I'm very proud of that. It's not just what you see anybody else have. So I wonder if we're losing that ability in this more instant, easy world. Well, as I say, that's Christmas for another year. We've got another year to look forward to, and it'll be interesting to see how things pan out. I hope you had a good Christmas. I hope you had some wonderful gifts. Did you make anything for anybody? Perhaps it was just a meal. My lovely girlfriend, the lovely Julia, and I, we, instead of buying commercial products, now, I don't want you to think I'm a goody two-shoes or anything like that. We just thought we'd do something a bit different. But we actually baked a spice loaf, a Christmas spiced loaf with currants and things, and some gingerbread men. And we set the people, grown-ups and children, the task of decorating the gingerbread men with icing. We got them together and we forced them, not at gunpoint, we forced them, and they had some great fun. It was lovely. And I think that's, again, something that I will remember for this Christmas in 2022.